From Wall Street to Main Street to help small business owners have the same capital as corporate America and give them the same resources as a larger company. We cover business funding, business credit, scaling, business consulting, and much more. Check out the website at shieldadvisorygroup.com. Welcome to the show, The Liquid Lunch Project.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Liquid Lunch Project. I am Matthew R. Meehan alongside my partner, the Professor Luigi Rosabianca. What's on tap today, Lou?
Matt, if you haven't noticed, it's 2023, and I don't care what trade or industry you're in, but you need to couple your business with technology. I don't care if you're a farmer, I don't care if you're selling widgets, or if you have a coffee shop. That business must be partnering closely with technology. So today's guest is no one other than Alex Svinov, CEO of Insquad, and he's going to walk us through how critical it is for your small business to be big on technology. Alex, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Luigi. Thank you, Matthew. Hey, everybody. Nice to be here.
Awesome. So, Alex, tell us about your company right now and tell us how you got there. So let's talk about Insquad a little bit. Tell us exactly what you guys do.
Yeah, Insquad is a platform where if you are a company, a startup, or a mid-sized company, and you really need to scale your software engineering team, that's where you would come to get the engineers like in one click or in 2 minutes, right? We've got 3,000 engineers vetted from all over the world, from Latin America, from Eastern Europe and Asia, vetted around on over 100 skills, so you could pick and choose whomever you want, and virtually all of them are available in the next 2 weeks.
So is it essentially a marketplace, or are you hiring Insquad and they're picking the developers for you?
We are actually hiring the engineers, and our customers are paying us. So we take the full responsibility on this relationship, and this is a very important point because we take all the risks associated with hiring somebody from some remote location that you've never been to or heard about. And then at some point you need to work with this person, and what happens if that person, gets sick or leaves or writes wrong code or whatever. That's where we are instrumental.
That's one of me and Luigi's biggest concerns when we're doing something, because we have a software project going on right now, but we always like to keep people here in the United States, and it's always within an arm's distance of somebody that we know. Going outside our comfort zone is hiring somebody, in Latin America or across the Atlantic, right? And trying to figure out, first of all, if they're good, and second of all, how much money are they going to burn before we get what we want? So how do you guys address those issues?
Yeah, I think, well, the issue that you just raised, it's very, very, very universal. Every client that we talk to, they run into that, right? How do we find if that person is actually any good? Because in software engineering, you never know if a code is good or bad, and you never know if the software engineer is performing or not performing unless you're a super expert in what you do. So what we do with the engineers in our vetted pool is we ask them to go through rigorous tasks. They takes them about 3 to 4 hours to complete the tests. And while they're doing that, they're actually writing the real code. And then our AI algorithms analyze the way they write the code, and then they can tell whether this person can actually code. And after that, each and every engineer actually passes an interview with our technical recruiter, because we understand that with the AI algorithms these days are not good enough to vet the people that we want in our pool, and it's very important for us to keep only the top engineers, only the guys that are ready to work according to US working ethics and US business culture. So we have a recruiter that go through a script with each and every engineer, and then we allow our clients the a short interview of anybody who's on our platform. So it's like we're saving, if you need to hire somebody, right, you need to do a lot of prep work. and then you do a good hire. So what we do on our platform, we do all this prep work. So you can be sure that anybody that we provide you from the platform would be of a certain level of quality, would be motivated to work for a US company, and would have a good working standards, and so on and so forth. And that's where we're instrumental.
The word software and developing software for small business owners actually scares them a little bit. It scares me too, because look, we've never done it before. We're really good at what we do, and sometimes going outside our comfort zone gets us, well, uncomfortable, right? So let's say I'm a business owner. I have an idea. I want to develop a software or product, right? And I get in touch with somebody over at Insquad. What are the next steps? Help the audience understand how they can take their idea to an actual product working with you guys.
If you do have just an idea, it's going to take a little bit more than engineers to put it together. You would need to have a product manager or a project manager, somebody on your side who's going to be responsible for taking over all that code that engineers have developed and actually, making a business out of it, right? Because engineers can write a code, but they quite often they do not understand how to make a business, how this code, gets you a new customer, lets you a new deal, or lowers your costs or optimizes your business process, whatever, right? So typically the software engineering cycle works like there's a project manager who actually understands what the business goal is. And then but at the same time, this project manager has some technical background to be able to talk with the software engineers. Then he can come to Insquad and say, hey, I need one or two or three or 10 or 15 or 20 engineers. We always recommend to start with a smaller number, because teams actually need to be built gradually, but that's a whole different topic to talk about. So you would start with a couple of 3 engineers, and then have your MVP ready in a couple of months, and take it from there. Try to build it in small batches so you see some result, and you actually understand whether the thing that the engineers are building is something that you actually asked for, and it's actually performing well and giving customer its value.
So another thing that we've always heard and from a lot of friends of mine is they went down the software route and they just burned money because they never really got it completed. So I understand the stages part. Let's go from concept, project manager to MVP, right? From project manager to MVP, on your side with Insquad, what are the costs associated with that? Is it a per hour rate? Is it a set rate? How do you guys charge? Or is it per engineer?
Yeah, we do monthly rates because we do only senior engineers. One thing, just a step back there, if you've never been involved in software engineering, you need to understand that there are different technologies, and that's everybody appreciates that, right? There's different languages, different operating systems. That's easy, but each and every engineer has a different level of skill level, and it's very important to distinguish between that, because if you want to do something entirely new, you cannot do it with a lower skill engineer. Typically, we call them junior level, mid level, and senior level. So if you wanna start building something, you would need to have a senior level engineer, because a senior level engineer is somebody who is capable of creating the entire software himself, or piece of code himself, and make sure it works. Work with a project manager, so that if you would have a team, I would say you would take a project manager and a senior engineer, or maybe 2 senior engineers. And the reason why we do have all the senior engineers on our side is because of the senior engineers. They actually deliver the greatest results in a set amount of time. If you were to hire them in-house, you would probably need to do a strategy, because the senior engineers always wanted to solve complex tasks. But you always would need to have somebody in replacement. So that's where you would get to junior and to mid-level, but that's a whole different story. So long story short, if you want to do a project, get a project manager, get yourself 1 or 2 senior engineers, if it's with Insquad, we do it per monthly rate, and we have like a minimum of 3 months commitment, because again, if you want to, senior engineers are picky. They get to choose what they want to do, and that's why they don't want to have, they wouldn't do something like, hey, write me a simple HTML page. That's not something that the senior engineer would do. They want some real some real test that they solve a problem. That's what they want.
Okay. And what is that monthly cost?
With us, it's well, if you take the general market, the prices can be crazy. I've heard about, I've seen and personally interviewed people who were making 20K a month plus with the stock options, so on and so forth. With us, with the remote engineers, they would be somewhere in the range 5 to 7K per month.
Okay.
And that's
per
substantial.
That's per
Yeah, that's a senior engineer with like over 7 years of experience with with a lot of technology. So that's somebody that we're comfortable, providing and giving to a customer and making sure that this person will deliver the result that he's expecting.
Awesome. I have a project I think I want to talk to you about when we get done with this. When we get the podcast.
Absolutely. And Luigi, just to refer to what you said about the coffee shop. It was funny, but one of our first clients was actually a coffee shop. They needed to develop a little code, software that would add to their internal processes of how they work with their suppliers. And to me, it was actually, when we started this business, we thought that our clients would be, the startups from Silicon Valley who needed to scale their teams, who raised millions and need to scale with the software engineers. And they certainly are guys like that, but we never thought we would have like somebody like a coffee shop, but we actually do.
Alex, and I bet you those projects are more rewarding because for that small coffee shop, the impact you could have on their business is astronomical.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What I really like about software, I know I said earning money, doing a lot of things, but a lot of people don't understand that there's a huge government incentive for building your own software called research and development tax credits, where you can actually get a lot of the money that you spent on the software back. And it's something that me and Luigi do when we're helping clients get into this realm to mitigate their risk on all their projects that they go after.
Oh, yeah, actually a good point. And I did discuss that.
Yeah, it's one of the big products that we bring to our clients. Unfortunately, in the market that we play in, that 2 million to 25 million arena, a lot of people don't even know it exists. 80% of businesses that qualify don't even apply. It's insane. But
oh well,
yeah. So by hiring a software team developing their own in-house software, it qualifies under the standards of R&D tax credit. Right.
Cool.
Yeah. So
thanks for sharing.
You learned something too. A lot of tech startups in Silicon Valley take them, even though they're losing money, because it allows you to have a 20-year carry forward on your business. So when you eventually start making money, you can take that tax credit against your liabilities.
Yeah, that's a very, very important point to know.
Matt and I have a theory where in small business, you cannot be a schmuck and be successful. There's this sort of universal code out there that you have to be a good person, you have to be wholesome, you've got to be God-fearing, and somehow the universe brings you back these positive vibes and your small business will be successful. Now, you're a father of 3. You are individually, you have a Buddhist mentality. Explain to me how easy it is to incorporate that wholesomeness in that warlike day-to-day struggle in running a business.
If I were to to take your question, I think if you would take out this warlike, everything else would pull together quite nicely, because it really depends on how you look at it, right? When I was working at the Wall Street, it did really feel like a warlike. Everybody was like an enemy, right? It's either your P&L or it's somebody else's.
Your best friend was your enemy.
Yeah. I mean, I had people who were like, I had example where there was this lady who went on vacation and during the vacation, her client called in and he wanted to do an M&A deal, and her best friend just took over the client and and took the revenue. And I was like, what? This things happen a lot of times. With the software engineering, it's a different type of setting, different type of context, and I'd say it's much more about people have of course everybody enjoys making money, right? It's universal, but I think it's way more about how you make this money, whether you actually create something and that brings you money, or you don't create, in a certain it actually forces you to do something good to the world, so you would get good back. And with that kind of understanding, you just you have to transform your mindset, because the reason why I've switched from the investment banking to the startups, it wasn't about money. I was making good money there, maybe even more than I'm doing now, but it was more about the feeling of love and feeling of making good things to the world that will my children will use, or somebody else's children will use. Well, somebody will use, somebody will find it useful. And with that in mind, the warlike came out of my world completely.
All right.
And
maybe you're not Napoleon anymore, right? I admit it's still a little bit about the money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is about the money, no question asked. But it's important that the money does not come from you doing something wrong to somebody else. Because you are doing something great, and people say, "Wow, I really like that. I really want to buy this." And hey, that's when you make money.
There was a line in the 80s Wall Street movie where Gordon Gekko goes, "I create nothing." Basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but he goes, "I shuffle numbers around on a piece of paper. I create nothing, but I own everything."
Yeah. But I mean, this is what investment banks ultimately do. Yeah, they shuffle everybody else's money. So,
Alex, can I throw out an analogy? In America, we have a very consumer-like economy, right? So the malls in America, up until recently, were generating a disproportionate amount of American GDP, right? So to build those malls, you needed bricklayers and contractors and painters, right? Is the contractor, bricklayer, the brick and mortar facilitator of yesterday the software engineer of today, and you folks are building the current economy?
I think that we're very much moving from the hardware to software. I would definitely agree with that. I definitely think that the entire growth of the economy is in the software segment, and I think that there will be way more people who are involved in software than they are right now. I mean, in the U.S., there is only 4 million IT professionals, right? So what is it, like 1.5% of the population? That's like nothing compared to the size of the GDP they're generating. Right, so I think it's got to be way more engineering professionals, and because anywhere you look, the even in the auto industry, the car every year it doubles the number of the chips that it gets into that. Right, there's like 5,000 chips in each and every car these days. So it's got to come to anywhere, because you basically can put the brain into anything. Right, you can now even put the brain into the people, into the if you have, for example, you have broken your hand and you cannot use your hand, you now can have a little chip that would control your nerves and do that. So it's going to be universal, and in that sense, yeah, I think we're definitely creating a new economy here, and you cannot be out of it. You cannot be left out of it if you want to succeed in tomorrow.
So artificial technology AI is all the rage the last 3 months, right? How many people are calling you up and saying, I want to create an AI? What can you do for me?
Well, I think this is, uh, because of the chat GPT, everybody found out what AI can really do. But a lot of people were doing this, years before that. I'm also an angel investor. I have a number of investments in the AI project as well.
Okay.
And I,
Anything interesting that you really like? Because you have some angel investing too.
well, there is. I can share it with you. I don't want to share it right now because I don't want to be, advertised or anything. But I can definitely tell you because these guys are actually raising around now too, and I really like them. I really like the way they traction. So, but the point is that the way AI works is basically mimicking the way human mind works. So it was bound to come to a point when it's gonna do work the same way our mind, works, right? We're now seeing more and more of a next level AI, conversational generational AI, and I think this technology is gonna progress and gonna add a lot of value and generate a lot of GDP in the next 10 to 20 to 30, maybe to 50 years. I think it's like really huge. I've been, a big fan of it for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. And I've seen but that time it was like nothing. I have a client out there, what they're doing actually, it's very cool. They are on the technology that's similar to ChatGPT. They are doing something where you can create a movie with a text. So basically, it takes the videos, and then from the videos, you just say, there's a horse is going down in the forest, and it creates everything as it is in real life. So it makes shooting a movie lowers down the cost of shooting a movie to virtually zero. So there is a lot more opportunities out there, and it's just boundary. The way you can use it is just boundary.
You're the second person that I heard that's where the puck's going, AI to video, right? We're not quite there yet, but we're going to be there soon because of all the money that's being spent in it, and the technology is advancing so quick. What's funny about AI, which I just learned recently, right, is none of this would have been around if it wasn't for NVIDIA losing billions of dollars over the last 7 years. So what was amazing about that was the chips that they use in video game systems, they saw these people developing AI going and buying them, and they went all in and took their shot, right? So, and distributed to AI. So everything's pretty much built upon NVIDIA's chips at the moment.
Oh yeah, and that's why there is, one of the most expensive companies in the world.
Yes, but I mean, think about that, right? So video games got designed because of the video game chip. Now we have AI.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of times, there's you don't know what's gonna be the logical consequences of the actions you do today. And that's again one of the reasons why I really love my job right now, is because I don't really know where it's gonna take me. Nobody knows. I can, of course, when we have a plans. And we believe in that, but I'm positive that there will be things that will change in life, and I cannot foresee everything. So there will be some bumps, and maybe we will pivot to something else, or I don't know, right? But the good thing that I'm having fun going down the road. So no matter how it ends, I will still have lots of fun. And I will have lots of experience. So that's why I do it.
So I heard a quote the other day, 3 things that kill companies: money, technology, and plans.
Yeah.
Money, because if you have too much, you just keep throwing money at the problem. Technology, because if you start out as a tech company and you just keep burning money, you're going to lose. But your plans, if you have a plan, you got to be able to pivot, right? If you look at a lot of these great companies, look at Nintendo. Nintendo was a playing card company before they morphed into, I don't even know what they are now. What would you call them? Media company almost?
Yeah.
Video?
Yeah. NVIDIA is actually the same example, right? They have definitely, reinvented themselves in the last 10 years because there are lots of chip makers that, just waned while these guys just prosper in the same, the same field, the same opportunities.
NVIDIA's done that for years, though, right? They were up, they were down, they were up, they were down. The founder of NVIDIA actually has the company's logo tattooed. Did you guys know that? The CEO of NVIDIA.
Well, he definitely wears his badge of honor. Hey, Alex, let me ask you something. Those of us old enough to have experienced the global economy remember the Celtic Tiger from the 90s. And one of the reasons Ireland was so vibrant back then was some tax policies from the government and also really good universities. What is it in the drinking water in Belgrade lately? Every time we hear a fun startup or some cool tech, it's coming out of Belgrade. I mean, what's going on there?
Well, I can tell you, it actually has a lot to do with the roots of myself as well. I myself, originally, I'm from Russia. I came to US when I was 21 or something. And then I was traveling back and forth, and I spent some time in Russia. And then I started this startup when I was back in Russia. But of course, in 22, I had, that was a very hard time for us because we had to stop everything and to move entire team. And like ourselves, there were like maybe 150,000 IT specialists, people who were building in a free economy and not building and doing bad things, moved out, and that's why a lot of IT startups are now in Serbia, in Belgrade. So I guess maybe that's the reason.
That leads me to another question. So you have developers all over the world. How is it running? Remote teams in the US is hard. How is it managing people all over the world?
Well, actually, I think this is the question that a lot of people, are thinking about, and that's impeding a lot of people from, trying to work with a remote team. But the reality is that management is not as hard as you would think of. There were few things that you need to be aware of. There certainly are cultural differences. And we had some funny cases with the cultural differences, like we had this Indian team, and the client was like always complaining that they are never proactive, right? Because in US, we expect that if you hire a person, you expect that person to be proactive, right? To give ideas, to say no if you offer something and they think it's wrong. And with Indian culture, it's different, right? If you are a boss, Indian subordinate would never talk back to you. So but then we found a way around that. We asked not the boss to give ideas, but his colleagues to give the same ideas, and then it worked entirely different way. And there was this funny story when this guy was, we asked for everybody, the client asked for everybody to give ideas, how to improve the project, how to improve the process. And when he was asking himself, nobody would say anything. But when he asked his Indian colleague to do that, one of the guys who pulled out a piece of paper where he had 50 ideas. He actually was thinking about 50, right? But he was never, raising a hand saying, "Hey, I want this thing done differently." So cultural differences mean a lot, but you just need to understand them and take them into account. I mean, in the US, it's the same thing, right? There are people from all over the world, so you need to be aware of, where this person's from and what's his culture. So it's not that bad. And time zone, obviously, is sometimes an issue because obviously when it's, 12 hours difference, it's kind of hard to manage. But it's, again, there are certain protocols, there are certain instruments out there. It's actually not that hard. Once you learn how to do that, it's like, it's like speaking Spanish. once you learn it, it's very easy. Only it's easier to learn how to work with a remote team than to learn speaking Spanish. But once you do it, it's very easy.
Hey, Alex, we want to be respectful of your time. We really appreciate you being here. Why don't you tell everybody how they can get in touch with Insquad, where they can find you on the socials, or just go to your website?
Yeah, I think that the easiest way, I mean, if you want to hire developers, you could go to our website and just do a self-serve, or you could connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Alex Svinov, Alex Svinov. And just hit say hi, and I'll be more than happy to route you to my colleagues and to help you find your ideal teammates.
And hire him. This is war.
Hey, listen, I think I'm sold.
Okay.
Alex, one last question before I let you run, okay?
Sure.
What country do you see top developers coming from, in your opinion? You can only pick one as of today.
Well, as of today, I'd say I like the most the best developers we've ever seen were from Eastern Europe, from Russia and Ukraine, which all now have fled to places like Serbia or Central Asia. So that's where they come from. So all this, Slavic origin guys are superior tech talents.
Awesome. Alex, thank you for being here. Everybody, that's a wrap of the Liquid Lunch program.
Thank you for listening to the show. And make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode of The Liquid Lunch Project.